Free cash. Told you about it earlier. Karen Bass handing out free cash. She's the LA mayor to people who came here illegally. Not free cash to San Angelo or to Los Angelinos, I should say. And not free cash to homeless people. Not free cash or free treatment for those who are drug addicted, who live there and who are citizens. Not free cash to veterans who are homeless in the street. No. Free cash if you think ICE is going to come and arrest you for being here illegally. To that end, we always like to talk to our good friend Kay Hill. On a Monday. Kay Smythe is the website.com, and Kay's amazing. Kay, first of all, great to see you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Actually, I'd like to direct everyone to the Modern Memo. Don't worry about me. Go look at the Modern Memo. We're trying to save the world. It's a new thing. I should have told you about that before we came on air, but yeah.
TheModernMemo.com.
Yes, that's the new one.
Go there and go check out what Kay does. She used to live in LA, not sure why, other than just was confused from Wales, didn't know where to go, and let's go to LA. And there were homeless people and drug addicted people and sexually aggressive people that lived in the area. And Gavin Newsom and that state have completely screwed up and wasted the $23 billion they had to fix homelessness. So now Karen Bass, who somehow is the mayor of LA, has decided, not only was she in Ghana when the wildfires were happening, not only did she blow off a wildfires get-together the other day to sort of talk about what happened, how to fix it next time, she is fully focused on ICE, going out against ICE, suggesting bad things happen to ICE, and now she's handing free money to people. Now, just to make sure that we understand, because I know that you weren't familiar with the story before I brought it up, before we started, the money is not coming from LA, but they're going to help administer it with so-called nonprofits that are looking out for immigrants' rights. So philanthropists are putting up the money, and LA somehow is adding more staff and going to use taxpayer dollars to help administer the money to people who are here illegally. Just your first thoughts on hearing about that story.
Sounds very democratic, sounds very much like the glorified slug human that Karen Bass is, who honestly I don't think legitimately won that election because she silenced all of her potential competitors. I think there was like one guy whose name even like escapes me to this day because they did such a good job of silencing absolutely anyone who went up against her. She is one of the most useless politicians out of California. That's saying a lot. You know, California is known for being a hotbed of stupid, powerful people who like to do things to destroy society. And, you know, Joe, when I first moved to LA in 2015, 2016, it was beautiful. It was safe. I could walk around Venice Beach at 2 o'clock in the morning, which I didn't do very often because I like to sleep. But I could walk around Venice Beach at 2 o'clock in the morning and not worry about anyone trying to eat me or attack me or any of those nasty things. And it happened. I tell you what, it took less than a year of bad policy, all of which came from Democrats, to turn it into an open air prison camp for the mentally insane, for the world's most toxic, dangerous human beings. And, you know, it completely does not surprise me, but it utterly disgusts me that once again, Karen Bass is focusing on people who legally can't even vote for her, legally shouldn't even be here. I mean, I'm saying that. I used to get sent ballots when I lived in Los Angeles for elections that I was not allowed to vote in, and I destroyed all of them. Why would I go and do something like that?
Do you think if you would have voted, they would have counted it?
Oh, yeah. I think that there are probably illegal immigrants voting all over California. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't prove it, but yeah, I absolutely think that that's what's happening. I mean, why wouldn't they?
Well, Kate, do you think that's why they do stuff? Here's the question I have, and you know how my brain works pretty well. I try to figure out the why. I try to know the other side's stance better than they do. This way I can adequately argue or debate it. I don't know why she's doing it. Is it because that brings in more money to have them stay? Is it because they're voting illegally, as you suggest? Is it because of power and control over the masses? Is it just anti-government, anti-police, anti-ICE? Is it all of that? I mean, what mentality could there possibly be to say, I'm going to help people who broke the law, who should be deported, avoid the enforcement that the federal government's allowed to do, and I'm going to help them to the point where I'm going to even give them money so they don't have to go to work. Her whole deal is they can't go to work because they're scared they're going to be arrested, so we're going to give them money to stay home. But do you know why they do it like that at places like Los Angeles?
I think it's a firstly great question, but I think the answer comes from like a couple of different perspectives, right? One, a lot of that money is not actually going to go to illegal immigrants. It's going to go to line the pockets of the people who work in politics. It's going to go to the pockets of the people who run the so-called nonprofits
Right.
across California who do nothing to solve any of the problems that they claim to want to solve. They just perpetuate problems, and the people at the top get super rich. And so you've also got to look at it from the fact that like a lot of these illegal immigrants, they come in as renters, they don't own properties. The people who own those properties, you trace them back far enough, most of it's your Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock. So it's, again, a great way to take American taxpayer money and all this philanthropist money and funnel it all the way back up to these guys who then recycle it and put it back into the bank accounts of people like Gavin Newsom, who is clearly already trying to run for president in 2028. Right. I think Karen Bass probably thinks that Newsom's going to win at least the DNC nomination, which I think he probably could, because I don't think the DNC actually hold any kind of like legitimate elections. Right. Like, you know, and there really isn't anyone else at this point that's come forward who could legitimately win against Newsom, just because he's got that name brand recognition, and because who else wants to be associated with that scum-sucking group of lizard people at this point? Like, I mean, these are people who actively if your family members are missing, they're probably on the streets of California, and they will die there unless you go do something about it, because no one is going to help them. Like, that is what California Democrats do.
I know that you and John watch podcasts. I don't know if you saw the Sean Ryan podcast with Gavin Newsom. I haven't watched it yet.
I don't want to.
But I know that he sat down. I'm probably going to have to force myself to watch it at some point. But I mean, to your point, she's showing up, or he's showing up with Charlie Kirk. He's showing up on Sean Ryan's show. I don't want Gavin Newsom on my show, because there's really nothing good I can think of speaking to him about. He's going to try to kill me with kindness, pretend like he's more moderate or more right-leaning than he really is. He's going to lie just to get himself whatever position that it is that he wants. I mean, I'm not somebody. Now, I'm not cutting down the other guys for talking to him. Not at all. They can do whatever they want on their shows. But I mean, that's clearly him trying to tell Middle America, I'm not what people like Kay and Joe say I am.
Well, this is the thing, Joe. I think you should have him on your show, and I think you should not let him get away with those lies. I mean, the most powerful thing that anyone who cares about America, who cares about Christian values, who cares about the actual future of this country and their freedoms and the protection of their children, like, they all need to be made more than aware of the fact that this man is a compulsive liar who pretends to be friends with everyone, and everyone hates him. And he's terrifying in that level of narcissism. I've tried to interview him several times. Obviously, I'm not big time enough. And at this point, like, you can't get me to leave my farm. Like, I don't trust the outside world. I got a nice little cushy life here.
Where are you going to go to interview somebody? Stop it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll barely go to the supermarket these days. No, I'm just kidding. I think it would be great to have him on your show, because you're going to be the first person to sit there and go, sorry, no, Gavin, you're lying about that. And you're a threat to America if you keep perpetuating that lie. And it's not okay for you to run on these lies. And you and I aren't friends. So why are you sitting here acting like we are? Because it's creepy, it's narcissistic, and it's, again, just another normalized lie. Like, why have you spent $23 billion solving the homeless crisis, but we've still got massive... Yeah, what did you spend?
It's only gotten worse.
Affordable housing.
It's only gotten worse. Affordable housing for a little while, and then they kick them out back to the streets and get some more billions. It is Cahill. Go and check it. You wanted them to go to the memo? What is it now? The Modern Memo?
The Modern Memo. Yes, the Modern Memo.
At the Modern Memo over on X. Go to themodernmemo.com. You can also check out Kay at Kay Smythe. She's Kay Hill, but she goes by Kay Smythe. See her on Newsmax, all that stuff as well. Let me shift gears and go into the idea. The IRS says that pastors and churches can legally endorse candidates. Now, I don't know where you are on this, but I'm gonna be straight. I don't like it. I think they should go up there and talk about their value system, and that you should choose somebody that has a similar value system. I don't want them up there on the stump for any candidate. It feels wrong to me. Where are you on this?
Well, I think a lot of people think it feels wrong, because most of us have been raised with this idea that we should have a separation of church and state, even though there was not really actually any long-term law. The founding fathers literally based the entire concept of America on biblical values.
Yes.
And so I'm here for it, because at the end of the day, if Christians sit back and completely ignore their political responsibilities, then we're screwed. Like, if every single adult Christian in this country got up and went out to vote, it would be a landslide. We would win every single election in every single state, from the local through the state through the federal level.
Right.
We would never have to worry about our children being castrated. We would never have to worry about our children being taken away from us because they think that they're a different gender or a different species today. We would never have to worry about the normalization of abortion or being forced, because there's an act that's moving through Congress right now called the Equality Act that would essentially criminalize anyone who stands up against abortion. And so, you can look at all of these hot button issues, but really what it comes down to is this desperate need that we have right now during this, what is essentially the third great American awakening,
Right.
this beautiful revival moment that's allowing us, and all of these laws are falling into place. All of these laws are falling into place to essentially let Christians regain their power. This is, I mean, just saying that like pastors aren't allowed to stand up and endorse candidates or endorse parties. Firstly, it was a massive violation of free speech, and the IRS conceded that. They said in their ruling that it was basically setting them up to get, like, they'd never win any kind of lawsuit, as we saw with this one that NRB filed. They were never going to win any lawsuit based on the Johnson Amendment that, you had to have this silence of politics in churches. And why is it that pretty much every single other group, just like whether it's religious, whether it's, an ideological group, they can all stand up and say exactly how they feel,
Right.
and endorse the politicians who actually want to protect America.
I want to push back a little bit.
Yeah.
I want to push back a little bit. A couple of things. You're absolutely right. There's no separation of church and state in this country. Period. End of story. It was a letter that Teddy Roosevelt sent to some I believe it was a Baptist church that said, not Teddy Roosevelt. What am I talking about?
John
Thomas
Adams?
Jefferson. No, Thomas Jefferson sent it to this Baptist church. Said, don't worry, we're not going to interfere with what the church is doing. It was never a separation of church and state. The First Amendment says you have the freedom to worship as you see fit, and also that the Congress isn't going to pass a law forcing a religion on you. So there is no separation of church and state. You and I are completely aligned in that. My deal is this. Now you're going to have people like the Church of Scientology, which is not really a religion. They're now going to be able to endorse anybody they want, anytime they want, all they want, and still be tax-free somehow. My problem is that if you're going to be tax-exempt, you're not going to pay any tax, it's going to be called a nonprofit basically, then you shouldn't be out there doing the political campaigning for an individual. Again, I want you to say the value stuff that you just talked about. Talk to me about how abortion is wrong and pro-life is right. Talk to me about how we're a Judeo-Christian society. You can do all of that stuff. Talk about there's no separation of church and state. Talk about how Christian values, Judeo-Christian values are this, and this. You should vote for the candidate that's most like you are, value-wise. But to say vote for Donald Trump in a church where you're tax-exempt, that's a problem for me. And not because I don't like Trump. Obviously, I do. I don't want people to start popping up. The Church of Democracy, the Church of my ass hurts, the church, you know what I mean? And then suddenly they're all tax exempt and they're all pushing for candidates. It's like another sort of pack. I don't want churches to be political action committees. Does that make sense? I don't want them to specifically say vote for Kay. I want them to tell us why what Kay stands for is right without mentioning her. Is that weird?
Yeah, I think honestly, I'm going to push back on you a little bit with this
How
one.
dare you push back on me?
Kind of I just think that that's a really dated way of thinking.
Well, I'm old. Look at me. I'm 58. You're young and happening. I'm dated.
But we're not sitting here talking about, like even 30 years ago when candidates would stand up and say, like, yes, I'm a Christian, I pray, I'm,
Yes.
pro-choice because of X, Y, and Z, or I'm pro-life because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, we don't say Z
living in
here.
a moment.
Stop the Z crap. It's C. Stop it.
But we're living in a moment where, the realistic two nominees for 2028 are going to be J.D. Vance and Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom wants to take your children away from you if you disagree with the idea that they should be chemically castrated. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's
that.
option one. Yeah, exactly, right? And so the option two is someone like J.D. Vance, who's like, that's insane. That should never be legal. If we weren't facing the kind of crises that we are facing as a nation right now, then yeah, I could understand that. But we've had a complete collapse of common sense. I do go back to the sort of free speech side of things. Like, I think it's abhorrent that any law should ever infringe upon anyone's freedom of speech. But these are not churches going out and fundraising for J.D. Vance, for Gavin Newsom. These are churches where the individual pastor can say to the congregation, this is who I support. This is why I support them. I'm going to endorse them.
Yeah.
If you as the congregation aren't here for that, then we completely understand. And any decent pastor is going to stand up and say, or listen rather to the congregation, listen to what they care about. They're going to go exclusively by biblical values. Because, like there are ideologies, like look at what's happening with Chip and Joanna Gaines right now. Like they just sold out all of their biblical values for money. Like people like that who are going to sit there and say that they go to church, but they actually don't practice it. You're going to have people like Gavin Newsom, who just went and did a 2-day tour of South Carolina and is there talking about how like women should be encouraged to murder their babies, but went to the AMC conference and talked about how moved he was by hearing a sermon. It's just like, dude, you're a lying trash bag.
He is.
Like,
now, I want to stop you because we're going to run out of time. I want to give you this retort. I don't think you're listening to me. If they're going to be tax exempt, then they should not be out there pushing for any political candidate. They can certainly push for one side wants to castrate your kids. The other side thinks that life is precious. You can do that without saying the people's names. If you want to give up your tax exempt status, go and say the names if you want. I'm saying if you get into the political fray where you're pushing for individual candidates or individual issues, and you're not smart enough to talk around it without saying it, then I don't think you should be tax exempt. I am for free speech, but you give something up when you say, hey, I don't want to pay taxes. And I think that the government can and the people can say, well, then just don't endorse candidates. I don't think that's asking much. I'll give you the last word on this. That's where I'm coming from.
I just think like it's two different issues, right? Like they're not fundraising for the candidates, so the money thing shouldn't have anything to do with it. And if the congregation is pro a particular candidate, who is anyone, particularly the government, to say you're not allowed to name that person? I don't know. I think this is a huge, beautiful step forward for religious freedom in this country. It's one of many that's going on right now that's sort of shining a light and really fighting back at all of this darkness that's going on. And I can't wait to see who comes out of the woodwork. I mean, Lake Point over in Texas, they are already like at the absolute forefront of pushing exactly what you said without naming anyone specifically. They have been teetering on the edge saying, there's one party that's pushing the transgender issue.
Yes.
There's one party that's pushing for like a lot of separation.
No taxes for you. You did it right. No taxes for you. I like it.
But I just think like money isn't really a part of the discussion.
Sure it is.
So, like,
but it really
don't really need to be part of the discussion.
It really is, because there are some churches making millions upon millions of dollars that don't pay a dime in taxes, and I don't want them to become political outlets for individual candidates, because what's going to happen is those candidates will start wooing the big churches, and I want there to be some sort of a line there. But Kate, listen, we can disagree. I think your arguments are awesome. Wrong, but very, very good. No, I think you're very right, and I appreciate you going there with me. It is Kay Hill. Go and follow her right now at Kay Smythe. And what is it? The Modern Memo? TheModernMemo.com.
ModernMemo.com.
Go there. Go check out that. Don't act like you're mad at me now. That was fun.
I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at all.
We got to go. You're the best. We'll talk to you next week. We're back after this. Stay right here.